Hello, captains, and welcome back. This is Loadout B Grimhammer here, and I'm bringing you another ship guide today, the Lorica, the Tier 4 Light Dreadnought. So, jumping right into it, we're going to start off here with Loadout A, the Frontline broadside build. Now, this build is going to have plasma broadsides, light torpedoes, anti-missile lasers, armor amplifier. And for the officer briefings, we're running Retaliator, Module Amper, Slow and Steady, and Get on My Good Side. Alright, so jumping straight into a match here, we're going to be using the Frontline broadside build. Now, with most of the Frontline broadside builds I show, you're going to be pushing up, constantly putting pressure on the enemy while using your broadsides, your missiles, and keeping yourself up with the armor amp mixed with Retaliator, Get on My Good Side, and the anti-missile lasers to kind of help you keep getting from disrupted, drained, stasis, and it'll help keep missiles off your teammates. So you constantly want to keep pushing forward and moving your front line up with you, taking out, putting focus on tacs, destroyers, soft targets. And with the broadside build, we're using Module Amper here, so you want to move up, kind of put power to weapons, launch your broadsides, launch your torpedoes, and then keep kind of pushing in, constantly moving forward, putting yourself in range and keeping the pressure up. With Retaliator, your broadsides will be cooling down pretty quickly along with your torps, and you constantly want to keep moving, keep putting pressure onto the enemy, and keep focusing down targets. Constantly putting pressure on the enemy tacticals, the enemy destroyers, the enemy dreads, anything that gets in broadside range, let them rip. Make sure you're module amping them, and constantly watch your energy management as you move forward, because you need a good pool of energy to module amp. You need the shields for your Retaliator. So you basically you want to keep throwing your armor amp up every time it's off a cooldown, so you have more control over your energy, and you have more to mess with when you want to module amp and shield up. So as with that is, you want to keep moving forward, keep pushing, keep the pressure up. That's the general emphasis on this build, is to constantly move forward into the enemy. Alright, now we're going to take a look at Loadout B here, the mid-liner offensive support build. Now this build is going to be rocking Tartarus Missile, Light Torpedo, Armor Booster Pulse, and Armor Breaker ammo. With the officer briefings, Retaliator, Destruction Cascade, Slow and Steady, and Get on My Good Side. So jumping into Loadout B here, the mid-liner offensive support build, we want to basically move up with the team and kind of stay around your 3-4K range from the enemy, and you want to be purging and armor breaking bigger targets like enemy dreads. You want to take down their front lines. You want to constantly be able to break their heal balls and break their front line using the combination of purge nuke and armor breaker ammo. Now when you do this, you want to hit the F key on your purge target and your armor breaking target. You want to hit F, hold it down, and drag down so you put the fist icon on the enemy. Now it's very important you do that, because then your team knows who they need to focus fire on. They'll see the armor breaker icon, they'll see that the enemy's getting purged, and they want the enemy. You want your team to be able to focus fire on that enemy, dropping them a lot quicker. Now with this build, you lose your armor amp in your 4th slot, and you're taking armor breaker ammo. Now armor breaker ammo is very important to not spam your shots. So what you want to do is you want to shoot with armor breaker ammo, wait a couple seconds, shoot again. Don't just lay into the trigger. You want to tap it, tap it, tap it the whole way down. And that way you make sure you extend out its duration for that full armor breaking effect. And if the target that you happen to primary the first time goes down, then you want to move on to the next target, so on and so forth. Constantly taking down tacs and dreads. This is a frontline breaking build. This is a siege breaker here. And the reason we take Destruction Cascade is because if you purge a target, you kill the main focus, and you're able to put some shots into something else, you're giving yourself a damage buff, and you're constantly helping your team move up. Now this build works very well in a coordinated group on comms, or even if you have some people on your team that are coordinating and playing together well. And this is a very good build for that. You got the armor booster pulse, so you can keep yourself slightly armored up. It's giving you a 45% plus slow and steady is 55% damage resistance, so it's very nice to have. You're basically taking half damage. And of course we're rocking Retaliator and Get on My Good Side, so you're constantly cooling down that purge nuke, your torpedoes, your pulse, and your armor breaker ammo. Now, like I said before, you really want to focus down the front lines. You want to make sure that you're breaking targets and you're constantly putting pressure on those frontline dreads, those frontline tacks, and constantly moving up. And make sure, I emphasize on make sure you're calling out these targets. Make sure your team knows that these guys are getting armor breaker, they're getting tartars, they're getting purged. So even at the beginning of the match, you go ahead and say in team chat, hey guys, look, I'm running an armor breaker purge build. I'm gonna focus targets with F. So pay attention to the call outs. These guys are gonna be armor broken. You're gonna be able to pour all kinds of damage into them. It's very important you want to do that because these guys will know, hey, look, these guys are going to be broken. We're going to be able to melt them really fast. And that's the key to this build. This build is very, very amazing when it comes to coordinated team play. And even then, even in random matches, you can do very well with it. You're not gonna be very high on the score. You'll be mid score, but it's to win the game. You can play the match mode with this very well. This is a very good conquest, a very good TDM build. This is amazing TDM build. And so you constantly want to keep the pressure up with the purge nuke and the armor breaker ammo, and constantly have your team help you take down the targets. And that's generally how you want to work this build. Thank you guys for watching the Lorica guide. Now stay tuned for the next set in the guide series. We'll be going to the medium dread line, and we'll be starting on the tier 3 Chernobog. So stay tuned and see you later. Fly safe, captains.